Well, hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar on the topic of hearing protection fit testing. My name is Jans Babkovic and I'm a chartered occupational hygienist with a passion for advancing the knowledge about all things workers' health protection. Joining us today is Nadia Mandi from Nexam. Nadia is a very knowledgeable hygienist and a very good friend of mine. Her philanthropy allows us to offer another 3 bursaries today for the 3rd time to cover the full cost of BOHS M200 training module. So we're expecting quite a few attendees today, so I had to disable everyone's cameras and microphones to make it manageable. But please use the chat function to share your comments, ask questions, and interact with other participants. And finally, I have to apologize for my voice. I just recently had a bout of laryngitis, so my vocal cord just barely recovered. So you might hear me coughing through the webinar here and there. But I came prepared, and I have a bottle of syrup, cough syrup. I have Lemsip, and I have some soothing pastilles. So if you see me munching on this through the webinar, don't be surprised. I need it today. In the spirit of bite-size OH, we're going to be moving quickly today, and we're going to be concise. So we're going to be a very packed webinar. So we're going to start with me talking about hearing protection fit testing fundamentals. We're going to briefly cover what is hearing protection, where it sits on the hierarchy of controls, why do we still use it, and then we're going to talk about qualitative and quantitative hearing protection fit testing. Then Nadia will take the stage and we'll talk about correct fitting techniques for hearing protection, because one thing is to identify that hearing protection is not fitted correctly. Another thing is to know, well, what can be done now? How do we fit it correctly? So Nadia will talk about that. And then I have a special announcement for you guys. It's not going to take more than 10 minutes and you won't be disappointed. So make sure you stay for that. And I'll give it back to Nadia to talk about bursary application process and how you can apply for a bursary if interested. And yeah, we'll finish with the Q&A session at the end if we have some time. So hopefully we can spend at least 10 minutes for Q&A. Cool. I briefly introduced myself, but once again, Jans Babkovic, I'm chartered occupational hygienist. I work for an agrochemical company called Syngenta as occupational health and hygiene manager. I got masters in occ hygiene, got bachelor's in health and safety, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that I do care about workers' health, and I spend most of my free time learning about it and finding out how I can put it into practice to make sure everyone comes home healthy. So let's get straight into it. So let's start with the basics. What is a hearing protection device? Well, it's just another form of PPE that is designed to protect the user from the harmful effects of a hazard. A hazard in our case is noise. So hearing protection device is just a PPE, and it can be broadly divided into 3 groups. So that's earplugs, roll down, disposable, pre-molded, push to fit, custom molded, or semi-inserts. It can be earmuffs. These are headband behind the neck, helmet mounted, active and passive level dependent, and also helmets. So this is a biker helmet or pilot helmet or tank crew helmet. So with helmets, they're not very common out there, but if we talk about specific industries like aviation, military, transportation, then you will come across these forms of hearing protection. So hearing protection devices is a form of PPE. We all know about the hierarchy of controls, and we know that PPE is on the bottom of that hierarchy of controls. The question is, why do we still use it if it's on the bottom? Well, the answer is that the higher levels of control are not always practicable or may not always be enough. So elimination, we can't eliminate all noise sources, no matter how hard we can try. Substitution, so by quiet programs will aim to source quieter machinery, but a quiet alternative will not exist for every type of machinery, so it may not always be possible. Acoustic measures can be very effective. However, there is a limit to how well acoustic measures, what difference acoustic measures can make. So if something is 100 decibel loud, well-designed acoustic measures can reduce it by 10, 15 decibels, but it's still above 85 decibels. So it's still not enough. And administrative controls such as worker rotation is also not always practicable. So then it comes down to PPE, where we exhausted all our higher levels of control. We can't do anything else, and we are left with the residual risk. And this is where hearing protection comes in to address that residual risk. So it's not the first choice to control the risk. It's the one that we only implement when we run out of options and we need to address the residual risk. So hearing protection is unreliable for the main two reasons, and these are poor wear time, where people don't wear hearing protection at all times in noise designated areas, and poor fit. This is where people do wear hearing protection in noise designated areas at all times, but they fail to fit it correctly, so it is not effective. Poor wear time can be addressed through adequate supervision, but poor fit can be addressed through training and hearing protection fit testing. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. So good fit is important because if hearing protection is fit incorrectly, as noise can enter our ear canal and cause harm. Noise generally can enter the ear through these four pathways. So noise can enter through bone and tissue. So no matter how good our hearing protection is, if noise is loud enough, it will just bypass hearing protection completely, and it will travel through the bones and tissues of our head, going straight into the hearing organ. Hearing protection device oscillation. So this is where hearing protector itself resonates with the sound and start vibrating and emitting the noise itself. So the hearing protection device becomes a source of noise. Then we have structural transmission. This is where noise travels through the material of hearing protector. And finally, we have air leaks. So this is where noise travels through the gaps of a poorly fitted hearing protection device and enters the ear canal. So today we're going to be focusing on this pathway of entry, air leaks. But what is exactly hearing protection fit testing? I think the best alternative that everyone can visualize is RPE fit testing. I think many of you guys are familiar with respiratory protective equipment fit testing methods, a quantitative method, where a user is asked to wear an RPE and is plugged to this machine that counts number of particles outside the RPE, outside the respirator, and also counts the number of particles inside the respirator the same time, and that the ratio between outside and inside is a fit factor. So if a fit factor is at a certain level, then the RP is deemed to be performing adequately. With hearing protection fit testing, it's very similar. So it can be these two ways to determine personal attenuation rating. So first one, you can ask a user to put in hearing protection device, and you can measure the sound level outside the hearing protection device, and you can measure a sound level behind the hearing protection device into your ear canal, And that difference between outside and inside will be your personal attenuation rating. Or alternatively, you can ask, you can establish a hearing threshold without any hearing protection for a user, and then ask them to put hearing protection inside and try to establish hearing threshold again with hearing protection device. And the difference between two is also your personal attenuation rating. So this is just a simplified explanation of how it works. So let's look into qualitative fit testing methods. So qualitative methods are relying on the subjective perception of the user, how well the device is fitted. So the first test is tug and pump test. So this can be used on earplugs, and basically when the user thinks that they correctly inserted the earplug and is fitted perfectly, what you need to do is to gently move it back and forth in a pumping motion. And what you need to feel, if it fits correctly, you should feel a pressure buildup inside your ear canal. Also, when you move it back and forward, you need to feel that resistance akin to taking a cork from the bottle. So that slight resistance when you try to open the bottle. So that's tug and pump test, and this is what it should be, what the user should feel if it's fitted correctly. Qualitative fit testing method, another one, is a loudness test. So again, it works for earplugs. What needs to be done is the user inserts the earplugs, and when the user thinks that they have achieved a good fit, they need to close their ears like this firmly, and there should be no significant difference between hands on and hands off. So when we do that with earplugs in, we should not notice any significant difference. The reason why this method works is because human palm is actually a very good attenuation device. So you can see here on the chart that human palm actually provides good attenuation, especially in higher frequencies. So if hearing protection, if earplugs are fitted poorly, that extra protection will make a difference and people will notice it. However, if earplugs are fitted perfectly, then that the hands will not add any more to protection, and you won't see any difference. So that's loudness test. And the last qualitative test is occlusion test. So the occlusion effect is the experience by the user experience in when the user experience changes in the perception of internally generated sound. So when we talk or sing or we generate sound inside our head, and we can hear that sound if we close our ears. So to experience the occlusion effect, the user should start talking out loud and then plug their ears with their fingers to note any change in the sound of voice. So instead of fingers, you want to test your earplugs. So when the earplugs are in and you start talking loud, what you should hear is that your voice becomes more fuller, more bassy. There is more bass in your sound. It sounds deeper, hollow, or muffled. So you should hear that. And this is because when you generate sound inside your head, it travels into ear canal, and if there's no earplug, it can freely escape it. But if there's earplug in, it resonates back, and you hear that amplification of sound below 2 kilohertz. So that's the occlusion method, the occlusion test, qualitative fit testing method. Okay, now on to quantitative fit testing methods. So the first one here is field microphone in real ear method. So this method is where we take a hearing protection device and we fit it with a little probe that is capable of measuring noise behind the ear, behind the hearing protection device and outside of hearing protection device. So what happens here? The user will be presented with external sound, and the probe will record the sound level outside of hearing protection and inside the hearing protection device. And the difference between them two will be your personal attenuation rating. So there are many commercially available devices, and the benefits of quantitative fit testing is that it is objective. So there is no response needed from the user, so they cannot tamper with results. It is also relatively quick, and it is also suitable for both earplugs and earmuffs. However, the downsides is that you need a specially trained person to do this test. There is quite a lot of equipment involved. And also, many of these fit testing devices can only accommodate for their own brand of hearing protection. So if you buy a hearing protection fit test device from one supplier, you can only test their earplugs. There's also one interesting device, which is Eve Ear Defenders. So it's not hearing protection fit testing device as such. It's a hearing protection device. However, it is fitted with this field microphone in real ear feature, so it can measure real time how well earmuffs perform. So it's basically hearing protection fitted with a hearing protection fit testing feature. So it's quite interesting, but it's not a hearing protection fit testing device on its own. Next quantitative fit testing method is real ear attenuation at threshold, or READ. This is where we ask user to wear audiometric headphones. And first we do a test without any hearing protection at all. So this test is called unoccluded, so no hearing protection inserted. So very similar to audiometric test. The user is presented with a test signal at different frequencies. And at first, the signal will be presented relatively loud. And the user will be asked to lower the signal, usually using a mouse scroll button, to the level where they can barely hear it. So when they reach that level where they can barely hear it, this will be the threshold of hearing. So without earplugs, it will be unoccluded threshold of hearing. And then the person is asked to put in earplugs, and the test is repeated again. But this time sound is presented at a significantly higher level. And again, the user is asked to scroll down, adjust the sound until they can barely hear it. And this will be their occluded, so with hearing protection threshold. So then we can subtract them two, and the difference between them will tell us the person's personal attenuation rating. Again, there is many commercially available devices there. We're going to look into one of them in more details. The benefit of this quantitative fit testing method is that it requires minimum equipment. It's just audiometric earmuffs. It can be combined with audiometric testing. So when you did your audiometry, it can be added on the back of audiometry to complete it at the same time. It's also suitable for all types of earplugs. So it's not linked to a specific brand. And it can also be used on the job for auditing. So this is where you come onto a site and you can invite few people directly from noise exposure areas who wear earplugs to test them, so you can test how well they're performing at that particular moment. The downsides, the test is subjective, so you rely on the user to respond, so there can be some user error. And it requires a quiet noise environment. Apologies. and it's not suitable for earmuffs. You can only test earplugs with this method. And finally, loudness balance test, the third quantitative fit testing method. With this test, again, the user is asked to wear earmuffs, audiometric headphones, and instead of just presenting a sound, the user is asked to put an earplug in one ear and leave another ear without earplug. Then the sound will be playing. The one without earplug will be playing a constant sound, but one with earplug will be playing a sound that can be adjusted, and it will be playing at higher level. So here the user needs to balance the loudness subjectively. So the user will be instructed to adjust the sound until they perceive it as equally loud in both ears. So the one without earplug and one with earplug should be equally loud. So then we can subtract constant from adjusted sound, and it will give us personal attenuation rating. Currently, there's only one device available for loudness balance test. Again, the benefits are that it can be used on all types of earplugs. It's not linked to any manufacturer, but the downside is that it's not suitable for earmuffs. Again, it requires a quiet room. And also with this test, asymmetric hearing loss can make this test impossible. So people who lost much more hearing in one ear than another may not be able to perform this loudness balance test. Cool. So what I got here for you guys, I recorded what hearing protection fit testing actually looks like in reality for the person who does the test and for the person who performs the test. So this device is FitCheck Solo. It's a real ear at threshold attenuation method. And yeah, enjoy the video. You might need to put your volume up because it is a bit quiet. Okay, so apologies if you didn't hear the sound. It's quite faint because especially when it's unoccluded, you can hear down to 5 decibels, which is not really audible from the computer. But I hope you were able to hear those higher frequencies. But basically, yeah, you would hear a sound at different frequencies, and you would adjust it as you saw on the screen. It's a really annoying squeaky sound on each frequency. So yeah, that's what the test looks like. And this is what the report looks like. So I only tested for 3 frequencies to make it quicker for the presentation. But in reality, you can test in frequencies from 125 hertz up to 8,000 hertz. And this will give you a more precise personal attenuation rating. So you can see here, my personal attenuation rating is 30 decibels, which means this type of earplugs can reduce noise for me 30 decibels. And it means that my maximum exposure that is allowed is 115 decibels. So if I don't want to expose anyone above 85 decibels, I can wear these earplugs in areas up to that level. So how do we integrate it? How do we integrate hearing protection fit testing? Well, you can integrate it at different stages. So once you established your mandatory hearing protection zones, displayed signage, and informed workers that they need to wear hearing protection, you can train them. And this is where HPD, hearing protection fit testing, comes in perfectly. So you issue the best suitable hearing protection for them, and you show them what difference correct and incorrect fitting can make. You can also integrate hearing protection fit testing into your audiometric testing. So if your periodic hearing checks indicate that someone may be losing hearing, then you can refer that person for a hearing protection fit testing test to make sure that they're not losing hearing due to incorrect use of hearing protection. Also, you can do audits, hearing protection fit testing audits. So you can go on the plant and say, you and you, please come with me, keep your earplugs in as they are. We're going to do a spot check how well they're used. And also you can do it for periodic reassessment, where we test the user every 3 years, because the shape of the ear canal can change. There are different medical conditions, and the hearing protector itself may deteriorate over time. So we can test it periodically. So in summary, real-world hearing protection device attenuation will differ from declared manufacturer values. As 100% guaranteed. You always have more on the box, stated on the box, than in reality. Poor fit can significantly reduce the hearing protection device attenuation. Hearing protection device users should be trained in simple qualitative techniques, but quantitative fit testing techniques should also be implemented to derive and establish personal attenuation rating. There are different methods for quantitative fit testing: microphone in real ear at attenuation threshold, and loudness balance test. A single fit test, though, not going to fit all types of hearing protection. So you need to choose which one is suitable for the hearing protection you use in your place of work. Also, hearing protection fit testing can significantly improve workers' hearing protection, and it should be an integral part of anyone's hearing loss prevention program. So further reading, I highly, highly recommend everyone to get this book. This book is a brilliant source of information on all things hearing loss prevention. So anyone who has any responsibility for noise, for hearing protection at work, I recommend highly to get this book. It will help you a lot to develop professionally and to run a successful hearing loss prevention program. It can be bought from AIHA Marketplace, so it's published by the AIHA. And I would like to finish on this slide to have it as a segue into Nadia's presentation. So in this study, 90 subjects were tested for their personal attenuation rating without any hearing protection device fitting training. So users had no training on correct fitting, and they were first tested. So you can see the baseline is marked with blue dots. These were people without any training, and then the participants were given training on correct hearing protection fit testing techniques, and then they were fit tested again, and this is how much difference it made. You can see that everyone's personal attenuation rating went up following the training on correct fitting methods. So on this note, I will hand it over to Nadia to talk about hearing protection fitting techniques. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Jan. I must actually applaud you for such an informative demonstration and discussion. I think we need to actually take away a message from here that hearing protection isn't just a tool to be given so that we maintain compliance. It's actually a tool that we actually need to follow in terms of how to properly use it. So Jans, thank you very much. It was very informative. Guys, I'm sure some of you guys know me. If you don't know me, I am on LinkedIn. You can look me up and also send me a WhatsApp, and I'll gladly respond to you, even a LinkedIn message, and I'll always be there. So yeah, okay, so let's move on. And Jan, we're trying to keep to time because the last session took us quite long. All right, so we've got different types of hearing protective devices, and you've got your foamable foam earplugs, which you can see there, and they made basically with like some sort of a soft foam, and when you like sort of squish them down or rub them between your fingers, they actually start forming the mold that you want to have it fit snugly into your ear so that it can expand once it's inserted. Okay, so I've got some examples for you guys here. And let me just take my stuff here. Okay, so you've got these ones here. These are your foamable foam earplugs, and a lot of people don't know how to use these. I'll show you some demonstrations in terms of what it actually looks like in terms of how people actually use this incorrectly, and it's common. Often before I even use these, I make sure that my hands are clean. Because these come in all one color, it would be nice to have different colors so you know where to put which in which ear when you're on site. I normally sort of make a knot on one of them, and where the knot is, it represents my right ear. So I know if I've got an infection in my right ear, I don't transfer it to my next ear. Okay, so that's a really simple control that you can actually apply. So when you actually using these, you roll them down like this very nicely, gently. Try not to rush it. Try not to do this with your palms as well. So nicely, as thin as possible. You continue doing this until it goes really flat. Try to eliminate any forms of creases into it, because if you've got creases, it actually creates channels for you. And these channels actually allow for noise to actually enter into the various spaces. So this is important. It's in most guidance measures and standards that you've got to educate and inform people about how to use hearing protection devices. Then you put your one arm, the opposite hand that you're using, that's free. Pull your ear, okay, away from your head, and then try to insert it as snugly into your ear canal, okay? And you can actually feel it going into the canal, because now as you move your pinna, it actually starts opening up your canal, right? I normally don't suggest to hold it down in place, because if you've inserted it correctly, you don't actually have to put added pressure, because it does hurt if you press too much into the eardrum. So I actually say leave it out, okay? And you can actually see that it is actually inserted quite well into my ear. You often have something which is this little piece here, and you often, you don't know what this is called, but I think it's called your targus. Okay, so my good indication to see that it's properly inserted is that when you look at me face front, you can't even see that I've got hearing protection on, right? You can't even see that. But as long as it's flush with your targus, bonus. If at all this hearing protector comes out and expands into what you call a concha, this is what your concha is, it's not inserted correctly. Okay, so that's what you take away from this. All right, and very nicely, what I like about these ones, don't pull it out because it will hurt. Gently move it, twisting slowly, because if you've inserted it correctly, you pull it out, you're going to get hurt. Is that these have cords, and that if it drops, it's not going to get dirty. Often I see when I go into site, because I do lots of surveys for different industries, you know, these things are very dirty when I start inspecting. One aspect of, you know, looking at control measures is actually inspecting people's PPE. And then you actually see a whole lot of different things from there, right? Okay, then you've got your pre-molded earplugs. Okay, your pre-molded. I see somebody's asking if Nadia's video is on. It is on. I hope so. Otherwise, I would have wasted my time. All right, so let's hope so. You've got these types. Okay, same thing, not which ear you want to actually have it on. Not it for me, it's for my right ear. Your pre-molded earplugs, remember, they're from plastic or rubber or silicone, okay? And these actually reduce, you know, your sound intensity as well, evenly across various pitches, making them very, very, very useful. Okay, same way that you actually, for these ones, right? These are, you know, your tri-flange design, which is really nice because it actually assists people with different sizes of their ear canals. And what you do is same thing, pull your ear away from your head and gently twist, 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 and slowly twist, twist, twist until it goes in, until the flange doesn't go in. So you can actually see that my flange is right inserted quite well and very comfortable, right? And then also when you want to take it out, don't pull it out, it will pop and then it'll hurt you. Just slowly twist, twist, twist. Same instructions, make sure your hands are clean when you do that as well. I've also got other pre-molded earplugs as well, which are like these. And you can actually see that I'm not even going to be touching these. You know, the pre-molded earplugs are actually quite nice because it allows you not to touch this part of it if your hands are dirty. Specifically, guys that are handling a lot of chemicals with their hands, or like, you know, the maintenance guys that are actually dealing with lots of lubricants and things like that. So it allows you just to hold the insert there and you gently push it into your ear. So same advice, twist, 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 put it in, and then put snugly into your ear. And then also when you want to take it out, twist, 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 pull out. Okay, so those are your pre-molded aspects. You've also got your canal cap. Jans possibly has that on with him as well. So remember, with your canal caps, a lot of people don't seem to understand how to actually insert it. They have different bands. There we go. There's Jans, right? So it's got a stiff band around. Okay, it seals nicely. So you push it to the back. Okay, and you gently insert into your ear, just like the pre-molded. And there we go. There's Jans doing it, and then you either push it in gently if it doesn't fit, or you know, you attach it like that as well. All right, Jans is showing that. Thanks, Jans. Perfect. All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Right, and then we've got custom earplugs. Jans, don't disappear. We've got you right. So Jan's got custom earplugs, and you can see what's nice about these is that they're different colors, so it's easy to you know which one goes in which ear. So you know it's got a unique shape in terms of how it's designed to fit your ear canal. They offer various advantages, comfort, you know, in terms of proper fitting, durability as well. There we go. And Jans will just easily place them and insert them into his ears now. There we go. He pulls it just like your pre-molded earplugs. There we go, pulling his pin up, making sure it inserts properly. And remember, this is designed for his, right? For his ear type. Thanks, Jans. Great. Look at that. Right. Often you'll see that, you know, when he's wearing these things, when you look at the person face to face as well, there we go. You can't see things sticking out. I mean, how often do you see people's earplugs sticking out if you're looking at them? It's almost falling off their ears, right?
Yeah. This doesn't distort sound at all. I can hear you perfectly. So it's quite good.
Great. Very good. right? And then we've got like protective earmuffs. These are one examples of them, okay? And you can actually see they're padded either with a plastic or foam cups, and they're connected by sort of an adjustable headband that you can change, okay? They reduce noise also by covering both ears, okay? And remember, these are often, what I come across as an easy way to use, because people do not understand. Most people that I come across in sites haven't been given the training in terms of how to insert earplugs. So this is, it's generally easy for people to actually grasp. So you just place it on like this, make sure that it covers both your ears nicely, okay? And then adjust the band to fit your face as well. Okay, so that's actually quite nice. Oh, and one thing I've actually missed is, because I didn't insert both earplugs, is that when you're inserting these, these earplugs, you must actually try to test it. If you do some sort of a humming sound, will actually tell you whether or not you can hear it. You can hear that humming test. Your voice often sounds more of a nicer pitch. Okay, so that's what you use there. Jens, I think you've got the helmet mounted hearing protection there. Could you quickly show us how that actually is used?
Yeah, I do. I have it here.
There we go. There we go. Okay, so you can see what it has, right? There's his hearing protectors. Okay, he's adjusting the size and the length of it, placing it around his ears, pushing it down, nicely put. There we go. Often with these, we see that people place it on top of the helmet, place it on the sides. Your helmet sometimes is dirty, so if you don't wipe your earplugs after every use, whatever contaminants, yeah, there we go. No, right? After contaminants settled on your helmet, it will actually be transferred onto your ears and your skin. So try not to do things like that. Often we see people wearing it in such weird ways. All right, excuse my photos. I'm not photogenic. I try not to. So you'll see I've highlighted greens and reds. Obviously, the greens is a good way of using it. The red is actually not. When you've got hair and stuff, when I get into sight, no makeup, hair up, so that it's easy to cover. And you can see the one in the photo with the red is, you shouldn't be who's laughing? A lot of you guys are laughing at me. There you go. So don't put it over your hair. Make sure your hair is back in a ponytail away, right, when you're getting to sight. All right, there we go. Nice one. Okay, here we go. Look at the incorrect fit. Now, tell me you haven't seen people in the red off all the time when you walk around site. That's common. It's because people are not trained to use this. And hopefully those people, or a lot of the people who don't know how to use it, is actually using this as a training session. I encourage business owners to actually take this video and use it as a form of training to educate people and show them, what's the good and what's bad of use. So please utilize this information. It's free. Right, there we go. Look, snugly in. If you look on the side, it's not sticking out of my ear. It's not hanging out of my ear. It's placed nicely, snugly inside. Look at Jan's as well now. The green is a good one. You can see how nicely it fits around. Also you'll see facial structures and bone structures will actually affect, how earmuffs fit as well. So make sure that, you're testing this. Look at the way some people often wear it. They don't know that these things, the earmuffs attached to the helmet, can actually adjust in height and actually push down into the ear. So that's one way of doing it. Okay. Of actually not doing what the red is. And then you'll see on the red one, which maybe you might not be able to see clearly, but you'll see that at the top, Jans's ear is actually sticking out at the top there. That's in an incorrect fit. So make sure that, when you're doing your assessments, guys, hygienists, technologists, assistants, or technicians, please go out and, it's not just about you observing a local exhaust ventilation or an extraction system or an engineering measure. Look at every aspect. Remember, the context we must go out is understanding and investigating every control on site. And one of that is being PPE in terms of are people using it correctly. And that's one way of saving a life. So look at that. I actually tell the guys, pull it out. Let me have a look at the padding. And you'll see the padding sometimes torn, damaged. That needs to change. Okay. There we go with the canal cap. Look at the red. You're not supposed to be using it like that. It doesn't offer proper fit like that. And you'll see the green, it always has to go to the back and push snugly into the ear. Okay. Look at the way these are custom designed and how people are not trained to use. They purchase these expensive PPE, but in terms of training and how to use it correctly, look at the green, how snugly it fits into his ears. Okay. All right, general care, regular cleaning. Okay, so earplugs, disposable foam earplugs should be discarded after each and every use. Reusable earplugs, clean with a mild soap and water and ensure that it's completely dry before usage to prevent any ear infections. Custom earplugs, follow your manufacturer's instructions for cleaning. Typically, they are, wiped and with a damp cloth or a sort of a mild soap solution. Earmuffs, wipe ear cushions and headbands regularly with a damp cloth. Avoid using harsh chemicals that could degrade the materials specifically as well. Replace cushions and foam inserts periodically according to the manufacturer's recommendations or when they show signs of wear. So you see, that's very important because people don't know to do this. Inspection, make sure that you look at it. Check for dirt, damages, wear and tear. For the earmuffs, look for cracks, tears, or other damage. Making sure that the cushions also provide that proper seal around the ear. Your storage, I've seen it recently. I just, saw as well storing HP in just dirty environments right next to the processes. Remember, it must be stored in a clean and dry place, away from sunlight, extreme temperatures, humidity, and chemicals. It must actually be placed into like a storage container, a locker, if not in use. Those are the things that you have to, tick as well. Replacements, if there's a need for replacement, please make sure that, it's replaced when required. All right. I've also, Nexum is a company that is an occupational hygiene company, and we do inspections and surveys, as well as training, which is very close to us in terms of, developing our people, and it's very important, and that is why Jans and I team up very often to present information and training. So Nexum is a registered OTA provider as well as a BOHS provider. So we do both examinations. So whichever way you want to go in terms of grading and upskilling yourself, please come into contact with us and we will help you as much as we can. And you'll see that these are the courses that are available, the dates that we have remaining for the year, and we also will start issuing new dates for January. Okay, so please, there's my number, my email address. Please connect if you want to. And then, I always like to end off with a saying, there's no better policy in a society than pursuing the health and safety of its people. Ralph Nader, okay? Please, we need to do this. We need to team up, work together, and help each other. Remember, part of us giving back is for you to give back as well. So save this information, share with everyone, and help others. Jens, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadia. These, it's interesting to see how these little tips and and tricks, how much difference it makes. First time when someone showed me that these earmuffs actually can click, I was like, whoa, that thing does that. And it's like now it's just a common sense, but yeah, the little difference can make huge. Little change can make a huge difference in terms of hearing protection. So no, thank you very much. Let me take control over the slides and we'll move on. There we go. Cool. So before we move on to a special announcement, I'd like to tell you about my Patreon page. So Patreon is a place where you can support me as a content creator. If you like the work that I do and you'd like to support me, please consider joining it. I value everyone's support a lot, and in return, I give these little benefits to my members. So you get behind the scenes videos where I explain how I get inspiration for different topics. I also show you how I put graphics together, what software I use. We also have a chat for members where we all discuss different issues and raise questions. You get membership cards. And also you get access to these monthly publications. Every month I write a book available exclusively to my members on different occupational hygiene topics. So these are PDF books, 10 to 15 pages long every month that come out. So yeah, if you'd like to support me, please consider joining my Patreon page by scanning this QR code or going to patreon.com/bitesizeoh. Cool. So now the special announcement and a project that I've been working on for the last 2 months and something that I'm really excited to announce. Occupational hygiene is a noble profession. We all do a very important job of reducing the burden of occupational ill health. And I think we as profession struggle a lot with conveying the meaning of our roles. What is it exactly that we do? What does it mean to practice occupational hygiene, to be an occupational hygienist? And it's really difficult to explain people sometimes with words what it is. So I thought we need to create an insignia patch that we can wear proudly that conveys what is it exactly that we do. And also the second reason is that being occupational hygienist sometimes feels lonely. We are often left on our own. We operate remotely. We operate in small teams. So it's very uncommon to have two hygienists in the same room. So I wanted to give everyone a sense of belonging to a wider worldwide community of hygienists to make sure everyone feels that they are part of something bigger. So I came up with these insignia patch designed that looks like this, and I put a lot of thought into it, and I packed it with a meaning that tells the story about our profession. So at the center of the patch is Hygeia. So she's a Greek goddess of health, well-being, and hygiene. The word hygiene derives from her name. So Hygeia stands for hygiene, thus occupational hygiene or industrial hygiene. Surrounding her are 4 symbols for 4 domains of occupational hygiene. You have a chemical flask for chemical hazards. You have a waveform hitting a surface for physical hazards such as noise, radiation, thermal stress. You have biohazard sign for biological hazards. And you have a Greek letter psi for psychosocial hazards. Around the shield, you have written 4 tenets of occupational hygiene in Latin. So this is anticipatio, which is anticipation, recognitio, which is recognition, aestimatio, which is evaluation, and moderatio, which is control. So all of these are written in Latin. Also at the bottom, you have a little sign, which is a pod of Asclepius. It's a symbol of medicine. And Asclepius is the father of Hygeia. So there is some interesting lineage there. And also, just jump there. And also around the pod of Asclepius, you have writing that says the art and science. So that signifies that we operate simultaneously in both fields, in the science and art. So yeah, that's the design. And this is what it looks like in real size, in reality. So I got it here on my shoulder here. I got another one with the chest, with another shirt on my chest. It looks really cool. It's a good size, full scale patch. It's woven, it's ironed on, which means you don't need any stitching to attach it. All you need is an iron and a glues on. Yeah, it looks really cool. It brings attention. People come up and ask, what's that thing? What is occupational hygiene? What does that lady stands for? And it's a good way to spark curiosity about our profession. So it helps to tell the story that who's that lady? He's the goddess, the hygiene, the goddess of well-being. This is what we practice, and these are 4 tenets. So it's a really good conversation to have explaining what it is. So yeah, if you like this patch and you like to get it, you can get it by becoming a partner of Bitesize OH. If you become a partner, I will personally put this patch into a handcrafted envelope alongside a membership card, which is printed on a really nice piece of cardboard with a little QR code and personalized message from me. And I'll put some stickers in for you as well. And I will wax seal it with these special Bitesize OH stamp. So you will receive a very nice letter in post with your badge. So if you'd like to get it, scan the QR code or go to patreon.com/bitesizeoh. Obviously, I don't have endless supply of them because I didn't know if people like it. I have few dozens of them. So if you really like it, just make sure you get it while I have it. And if you're not really interested in Patreon, that's all fine. But I would like still to invite you to try out Insider membership. It's absolutely free for 1 week. There is zero commitment, so you can cancel it anytime by just a press of a button. If you become an insider of Bitesize OH, you instantly get access to this ebook publication. So this is a summary of everything Nadia talked about. So this is a guidance on correct fit testing methods for all types of hearing protection, including helmets as well. So it's an interesting read. So make sure you get it. Cool. So that's all me rambling about my Patreon. Thank you very much for your attention. I want to remind you that this webinar is formally CPD accredited. So you can claim 1 CPD credit for this webinar, and you can download your personalized certificate. To do that, you need to scan this QR code or follow the link. May I ask our moderator maybe to put the link in the chat box as well so people can click it. I'll just keep it there on the screen for a few more seconds, maybe screenshot it. If it didn't manage to scan it, don't worry, I'll send it out in email as well. Right, and here is over to you, Nadia. Please, if you can talk about the bursary scheme.
Great. Okay, so yes, there's bursaries coming up, and there's 3 bursaries to be awarded, and we're looking at the M200, which is your basic principles in occupational hygiene. Typical cost is £1,400 per module. So guys, it's a lot that we're offering. So take, control and make sure that you apply. If you haven't studied occupational hygiene before, please get it done. Training and exam fees are fully covered, so you don't have to worry about that. You just have to sit through my session and listen to my voice for 5-6 days. If you can handle that, then apply. And why would you want to do the M200 module? Just make sure that, it allows you to understand what our profession is about as well. It sets that baseline for you to to think, do I want to continue with it? Once you do it, I promise you will never go back. I mean, I actually went from an environmental degree and went into an occupational qualification in an instant. I just love it. I love people. I love talking with people and educating people and protecting them. And it just offers so much of value to my life. Okay, and with BHS, you can actually get the various modules, your 500 modules when you start with the 200. I always say that if you don't have any knowledge, please do the M200s, but once you do that, you can start moving up, and moving up is looking at all the other 500 modules, from noise to ergonomics to controls of hazardous chemicals. It's endless. So please make sure that you follow whatever your heart desires there. Very good. We offer a module every month, so you can do a module every month, and then you qualify moving on to getting a diploma in OH. There's a whole guidance document that you want to. I don't want to use up too much of time here, but if you go to the BHS website and you look at qualifications and upgrading, it's easy there. You just download it and just follow that pathway. And if you get confused, I'm there. Jans is there. My email address has been provided. Please connect with me, and I'll gladly help you. Jens, and the last thing is, when do we start it? There we go. Criteria, you know what? We open it to every country. So how good is that? Most of my training is online. So wherever you are in the world, we are there. We can help you as long as you've got good internet connection and you've got enough data. It's open to applicants from any profession. We don't limit you into whatever your background is. We try to make sure that we give you the skills so that you can decide where you want to go. You mustn't also have any prior OTA or BHS modules on it as well. And the reason for that is that we want to give everybody a chance. You must not hold recognized hygiene credentials CIH, ROH, COH. It makes sense, right, guys? Those guys would have already had the information and already upgraded, so please don't do that. Considerations enabling career entry advancement, applicants' socioeconomic background as well. You know, a lot of the times I give away, you know, these trainings for free because a lot of I get, you know, single mums who can't afford this. And it's hard, you know. You want to get it, you want to do this sort of occupation, and you can't get it because of finance. It's costly. Geographical demand for hygienists as well. I mean, look around us. How many hygienists can you count on your fingers? Very little. How to apply: send your CV along 250 words for motivation to contact@bitesizeoh.com. Bursary recipients will be announced on the 27th of August, and the course will take place next year from the 20th to the 27th of Jan 2025, SAST 9 a.m. Okay, so guys, look forward to having you on my class and connecting with you and further forming relationships with you until, you know, you delve into this career. So thanks, Jens.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Nadia. So, cool. I think we're very good on time now. I think we'll learn the lesson. And we have time for Q&A, not even 10 minutes, but 12. So we can take some extra questions. So I'll just probably scroll. If you guys have question, please type it now. But while you do that, I'll scroll through the past questions and see if I can answer it.
So I've answered some of them already. Just check. For those who we haven't answered, maybe you can just copy your question and just post it again for us.
Yeah, if you can do it now. So while you type your questions, there is one that was asked from Amo. What the name of the earmuff displayed in the video? It's 3M Pelter Optim 1. So quite good. I can actually recommend them because I've been using them, and they're very good. They're very light and they give just enough protection, but they're not too heavy. Anyways, you will sweat in them if it's hot, regardless of brand. It will be hot, but they're quite good. They last. Right, let's see what people are writing. Could you please inform, will you ever broadcast via YouTube? It would be great because on YouTube it's translated in many languages. I don't know. We'll have a chat with Nadia and see if we can use other platforms as well. It will be posted on YouTube when we finish. I will post it tonight, and hopefully YouTube does the caption and auto translation. Okay, Nadia, do you want to answer this one? What is the difference between a decibel and decibel A, which is A-weighted?
Okay, so just note, for if you think about decibels is a unit of measurement, okay, and it looks at your intensity of sound. All right, so it's representing your dB is representing raw intensity of sound. Okay, if you look at dBA, which is A-weighted decibels, dBA is basically looking at a frequency weighting. Okay, and it's a frequency weighting that is actually adjusted for measuring human hearing at different frequencies. That's good enough.
That's good enough for me. Yeah. Yeah, cool. I got here one from Abdul Rahman. If the noise level at ship engine room is above 105 decibels, what kind of practical control measures you recommend? Oof, well, you need to have a look at the source of noise. So you really need to speak to your engineers who understand the engine and what makes noise in that engine. I did see, I have been to a few places. It wasn't a ship, it was an oil rig. It was a floating oil rig, and they had an engine room, and it was noisy, but they built acoustic insulation around the machine with some openings for ventilation and stuff like that. So this is what I saw, acoustic acoustic insulation. But I would definitely speak to engineers to see what can be done at source, with belts, bearings, lubrication, stuff like that. What is it that generates noise? But more than likely, you will still need hearing protection to address the residual risk in the engine room. You will never get it at below 85 decibels. It will be loud.
And also to add on to that, normally remember medical surveillance is very important for a reading like that. 105 decibels, it's very loud. So looking at 6 monthly audiometric tests is important as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this one for you, Nadia. How does the requirement of wearing safety glasses influence the seal around the ear when earmuffs and safety glasses are worn together?
Great question, and I didn't answer that. Oh, I wasn't doing that in the presentation. I had everything in my head because I don't prepare. Jans knows me. I actually try not to prepare. But what happens is your glasses actually creates gaps, so you've got to check to see that doesn't happen. And if it doesn't, then it's a bonus. But generally, when you're wearing glasses, it creates a gap and it allows for noise to enter. So please make sure that you check that as well.
Yeah. There are safety glasses with very slim temples.
Yes.
That are really good. That they still reduce a little bit the protection by earmuffs, but just by the tiny bit. But yeah, they do exist.
I think we'll do one more now, Jens. Is fit testing equipment compatible with all HPDs brands? What would you say for that?
No. So if you take, for example, the one that I demonstrated, real ear at threshold method, read method, it's compatible with any brand earplugs. If you take, for example, 3M device, I forgot what it's actually called, the one that measures, has microphone inside and outside the earplug, that is only compatible with their 3M branded devices. It's because you need to create an adapter that can fit through the hearing device. So yeah, but there are real microphone in real ear devices that can be fitted to other brands as well. So there is a way to fit the probe. Yeah, not all of them.
Do we have more time?
Yeah, we do. We have until 4:15, so we still have 6
Okay.
minutes to do.
Okay. There's another question. They say here, after how long should custom molded molded plugs be changed? Well, I mean, I've come across these. Remember, your custom molded earplugs are generally, designed for long periods of time, a long-term use. Often, some suppliers actually say every 2 years, considering a change. Jans, I don't know what your suggestion on that one is, but generally they say, or like obvious reasons, if you've got like wear and tear, and if you're, remember, like Jans also stated in discussions, your canal actually changes in time as well, due to either weight loss or gain of weight, aging as well. Your earplugs change. I mean, your canal changes. So if that changes as well, you've got to also, change it. Comfort as well. If it's causing some sort of irritation to you, you will change it then. But generally, common suggestion on my end would be from suppliers would be every 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all of these are good tips and suggestions. The information I had from this supplier of earplugs was 5 years. And I asked for the reasoning and said, it's not that the earplug is failing. They said your ear canal shape will change in 5 years because we grow and anatomy changes. So it is just likely that the shape of your canal will be different. The earplug will be fine. It's your ear that outgrows it or outshrinks it. So yeah. I have here a question from Mohammed Zain. He asks what permanent diseases we can get without or with improper usage of hearing equipment. Let me start answering this one, and then you can add if I missed anything, Nadia.
Yeah.
So obviously the big one is noise-induced hearing loss. This is what you get from excessive exposure to noise, from routine excessive exposure to noise. You can also get acute hearing loss or acute trauma from high-level impulsive noise or impact noise. This is like a blast or shot or an impact. But also it can cause tinnitus, so ringing in the ear. And there is more and more evidence that noise-induced noise exposure to noise can cause stress, anxiety, cardiovascular diseases. It also links to increased risk of dementia. And there is one study from China I read about recently that simultaneous exposure to noise and dust increases the risk of high blood pressure as well. So, yeah, anything else to add there, Nadia? What else?
Yeah, no, you've touched it completely. Yanda and I were also talking about using, earmuffs in environments that are really hot with high thermal levels. And I've read research on how it can actually contribute to heat stress. So, I mean, besides, they were mentioning what health risks, it can actually result in heat stress. So, and that's just by using earmuffs.
Yeah.
You remember, I read these things, so that's one thing to also consider. Look at things, aspects like that, where you can actually, offer value or add value to someone's workplace.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Right. Nasir Raza says, is there any law says the fit testing must be carried out thrice a year, 3 times a year, or every 3 years, thrice a year? Yeah. Are you aware of anything in South Africa, Nadia? Is there any
No,
mentioning of fit testing in law in South Africa?
no, it doesn't specify specifically how many times you have to carry it out within the year, but it does call for you to actually do it. And in South Africa, we've got legislation. Most countries actually have standards that you like somewhat have to listen, but in South Africa, we've got legislation that actually pushes companies to abide by certain controls. One of those conditions is fit testing. So yeah, for us in South Africa, we're quite well protected. But every 3 times in a year, it doesn't state. It asks for your own your discretion to be placed in there.
Yeah. In the UK, it's fit testing and not specified in the legislation. But what legislation does say that hearing protection must be adequate and sufficient. Yeah. So that is open. The UK legislation is non-prescriptive. It will tell you basically make sure people are protected, and then you need to prove what steps you've taken, and these steps needs to be they need to be taking account the best available technology as well and where the industry is. So I think in the near future, it will be viewed by HC inspector as a standard. If this technology is widely available and is accepted in the industry, then why not? Why should it not be a standard part of hearing loss prevention program?
100%, Jens. And apart from our current noise-induced hearing loss regs are actually being updated, so I can't really comment about the new regs until it's in place. But irrespective of legislation, there are specific laws that will say an employer has a responsibility to protect workers. So if you fail to protect them by giving them incorrect PPE, then you actually will still stand liable. So, it's like he says, it might not say specifically that you have to do A, B, C, D, but it will imply that you will have to do A, B, C, D.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the case. Cool. I'm looking at the time and I'm just thinking we have covered all slides, so there is nothing else that we need to cover except of closing out slides. So if we're going to be a bit cheeky and extend it by 10 minutes to answer the question. So guys, if some of you need to go now. It was great to have you. Thank you very much for joining. I'd like to say the closing remarks to you, but we'll just stay for 10 minutes more just to answer questions. So if you can stay with us, we'll answer more questions. If not, it was great to have you on board. And please stay connected with us and reach out to us. We're always available here for a chat. But okay, let's do a few more questions. Maybe let's do 8 minutes. I'm excited to answer this. Let me read this out to you. Talk about diseases, about the law. What for quantitative HPD fit test, is it also required a sound booth as in audiometric testing? I got this one. Preferably, yes. For a microphone in real ear, you don't need it because you just measure objectively noise inside the ear canal. Outside the ear canal, you don't rely on user to respond to signal. So there is no user interaction. You just measure two noise levels and see what's the difference. For loudness balance and real ear attenuation at threshold, it is preferable, although it's not mandatory, because you measure hearing protection you measure the threshold of hearing with protection against unprotected in the relative terms. So basically, you want to know in that environment what person can hear without earplugs and what they can hear with the earplugs. What I will say, it needs to be stable. So there should not be fluctuations like you did first unoccluded test in quiet environment and then someone starts slamming the doors when you do occluded test. It needs to be quiet, maybe not audiometric booth, and it needs to be stable. So quiet room in the office will I found myself that it will do the job. Nadia, do you see any interesting questions there you'd like to answer?
Okay, yeah, there's a nice one by Bafaraj Hisham. He or she says, when can we use two HPDs like earplugs and muffs at the same time? So that we often refer to as dual protection. So it's basically when you have very high levels of noise, and that's typically when you're sitting with environment like somebody asked us about an engine room with 105 decibels. So potentially maybe, between above 105 decibels just to attenuate that issue. Also, if you're looking at compliance levels and you can't bring those levels down, your required prescriptive levels for compliance, you'll have to potentially consider it for dual protection. I think that I answered. Jan, is there anything you want to add there to it?
No, that sums up well. I think the short answer is you can wear it anytime you want. If you want to wear it, you don't have to wait until it gets to that high levels. If you want to wear it, if you feel, well, you don't want to be overprotected because you don't want to feel that feeling of isolation and be unable to hear alarms and signals, safety signals. But yeah, when it gets into the 3 digits, then when you start thinking, do I need dual hearing protection? I have one here that I'd like to answer, why there is a difference between NRR and SNR attenuation, so noise reduction rating and single number rating. So NRR and SNR, these are attenuation classification schemes. One, SNR is popular in Europe, NRR are popular in US. So the difference is in the algorithm, the way the formula is written. So one it just calculated differently. So that's where the difference is from. So you need to use the one that is specified in your legislation. In UK, the SNR is usually specified, and in US, I think OSHA specifies NRR. Yeah, that's
I think
all.
So. Yeah, I agree with you. Have we missed out anything else, Jens? I'm trying to look. My eyesight, I'm getting much older, so it's my
Yeah.
reading now. It's getting darker here in South Africa, so it's like starting to get to nighttime.
No, this I'm just looking as well. How do you adjust the actual noise measured to account for the HPD noise reduction rating? How do you adjust the actual noise measured to account for the noise? Oh, there is a formula how you apply noise reduction rating, and basically you take the most common approach. You take the highest measurement you measured in your work environment, and you subtract a noise reduction rating plus any D rating that may be required, and that will be the level the person the maximum level the person could be exposed to with hearing protection. Do you want to do the last one, Nadia?
Yeah, and I think what I scanned through quickly, they said a question: do these hearing equipment PPEs have any expired or validity? I think we kind of answered the custom molded one, the pre-molded earplugs and earmuffs. Typically between 6 months, we often recommend a replacement because that's how long we often see that in terms of damages. And then also, when you look at just general maintenance and care of your PPE or HPE specifically, look at it if there's any cracks or defaults or issues with it, you've got to replace it as and when required. So I think that's the last question I see here, Jens. I don't know if I've missed anything, but I have also responded on chat as well when you were presenting. So we've covered that.
Yeah. I will go through the chat as well, and I'll try to find you on LinkedIn and reply. Or if we didn't answer your question, please reach out to us on LinkedIn or email to us, and we'll do our best to answer. Right, let's move to a closing remarks. So I think we have a tradition now to show the map of registrants. So these are all locations people registered from and came to this webinar today. So we have people from 56 countries. So we are truly international community. We have someone from Hawaii there. Let me see if I can highlight it there. There we go.
I'm actually going to take a photo of this quick as well.
It's people from Hawaii. We got up north, people from Helsinki, Norway, loads of people of South Africa and Africa, Middle East, India, US, Canada, Southeast Asia, everywhere, Australia, Latin, South America. It's great. It's great to have everyone joining us from everywhere in the world. But Hawaii is my favorite this time. It's like, this is so cool. Someone in the middle of Pacific Ocean is with us today. So
and
that's
it's
really
just one
cool.
person, eh, Jens? Just the one person from there.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it is one.
Cool, man. Cool.
Right. So, guys, thank you very much for coming today. I really, really enjoyed doing these webinars with Nadia and with all you guys. It's such a good spirit, such a good environment to see all you interacting, asking questions, and we all learning together. And we learn the most when we prepare these webinars. This is where we study and learn about the topic. So we don't know everything, but wanting to tell more about the topic makes you to study and research it. And so we're learning with you. Great. Here are the contacts on the screen. You can reach us on LinkedIn, email us. We're always available. Please, if you need any training, reach out to Nadia. She's the best training provider. We use her a lot, her services, and no one is disappointed. Everyone says it's the best training they had. Very interactive and very supportive. So if you consider a career in occupational hygiene, you want to advance occupational hygiene, as an occupational hygienist, speak to Nadia and she'll do her best to support you. Anything you'd like to say, Nadia, before we finish for today?
Jens, I couldn't have done any of this without you. So just remember, Jens and I will be doing this every year, even if it means us doing once a year. Jens and I have been extremely busy. We've been flying out for this past 2 weeks. We haven't even been chatting to each other like we normally do. We've been hectic busy with other work. And Jens, I must really thank you. You have really, you inspire me and you inspire a lot of people, and I'm grateful to have you as a friend. So not just as a colleague, but as a friend. So thank you so much. I'm really blessed to have you.
Thank you.
And for everybody else that has joined, guys, you guys are the ones that are going to lead us in future. And please, if you have anything that you can give back, try to give back as much as you can. We look forward to you sharing your knowledge as well with others, and giving back to society and protecting worker health and protecting our profession. I mean, not a lot of people know what hygiene is, and please take us forward.
Great. Thanks, Nadia. Thanks, everyone. And until next time, I'll see you soon, and stay in touch. Bye now. Bye.